Hello everyone, this is Old School from WhatTheBuck.net, coming to you live from Valrico, Florida. This Sunday we have these visiting Seattle Seahawks coming into Raymond James Stadium for a Sunday evening game. Seattle and Tampa came into the league together in 1976. I had the good fortune, I guess, of living in Seattle for 6 years, so I got a chance to see the Seattle Seahawks franchise and the Emerald City up close during a pretty good time when I lived out there when I was working at Microsoft. Like many teams in the league, the Seattle Seahawks pretty much own our head-to-head record. I was fortunate enough to be in attendance at the Old Kingdom the last time that we beat the Seahawks. I watched Sean King come back after Trent Dilfer got injured and win that game. I was rocking my Warren Sapp jersey there. It was a hell of a good time. But right now, everything's a little bit different. The Bucks are doing really well. They're coming off a kind of an ass whipping of the Carolina Panthers, 27-3. The Seahawks are in a state of disarray. Mike Holmgren has already said this is his last year. The team has performed very poorly thus far this year. They've had a number of injuries that have hurt them. The quarterback spot, the receiver spots. In general, they're just sort of in disarray. We've got a lot of things going on this Sunday night. For the 8 o'clock kickoff, it's the Mike Alstott Tribute Night. For those of you who don't know what that's all about, they got these pretty cool commemorative tickets, which are pretty cool. I don't know if you can see that with Mike Alstott rocking the red and the orange. Should be a hell of a time for Bucks fans. They're also announcing that we are going to have a Ring of Honor for next season, as well as we're going to rock the orange jerseys one time next season, all sort of to tribute the 1979 season where we were led by Doug Williams to our first NFC Championship game. Sadly, the part that will be left out in this whole discussion is that Hugh Culverhouse was too stupid to re-sign Doug Williams. He was unwilling to pay him essentially what a lineman would be paid because, well, this is editorial. I don't know Hugh. He's passed on. Don't want to speak bad of the dead necessarily, but there seemed to be a bit of a racial issue there where he didn't think that a black quarterback was worth that kind of money, which is a pile of horse crap. So, regardless of all that, this week we got the Seattle Seahawks coming into town. We're having one heck of a raucous tailgate over in Lot 14 if you're local, the corner of Himes and Martin Luther King. We're tailgating with the guys from BucksChat.com and the folks from the CaptainsDeck.net. We'll be right there on the corner. It should be a good time. We know our girl Sugar's coming in from Arizona. Longtime Buck fan. She's got ink and everything to represent. But we're going to have to deal with the team that's on the field. On paper, this doesn't look like it's going to be much of a game. If you look at the stat sheets that we talk about generally from week to week, I highlight where we're better than they are. You notice it looks like I'm just kind of coloring paper here. We kind of destroy them on most stats. The Seahawks generally just don't look very good. They have a quick defense, some really good talent on the defensive side of the ball in the skill positions. You got Kearney and Bernard. You got obviously Lofa Tatupu, Julian Peterson. And then their secondary, they got some guys whose names you should know as well with regards to Brian Grant and Marcus Trufant. But they haven't been able to put it together this year and lock down some victories. On the offensive side of the ball, they're in pretty much disarray. The receiving corps has been shattered with injuries. They've got Carlson at the tight end position, who's their leading receiver. Seneca Wallace looks like he's going to go, but Seneca Wallace is, in my opinion, a poor man's Antoine Randall L. If he doesn't go, it'll be Charlie French Fry. And their offense just does not pose much of a threat. Now, Julius Jones came off and was popping off this week about how the Bucs defense is aging and how they plan to beat us with superior athleticism. That kind of tweaked Kevin Carter, who's one of the aging guys that he was talking about. He put it up on the locker room wall. We'll see how that works out for good old Julius when he tries to run against that Bucs defense, who, currently is, ranked 9th in the league, it looks like. 9th in the league in rushing defense. The Seattle defense is 23rd. Their defense is equally bad against the pass, 22nd. Our offense should be able to move on these guys. Now, Bernard is a beast in the middle, and historically what he'd do is kind of shove that pocket up in the gut, force the quarterback to move laterally, and he'll move laterally into Kearney or Peterson coming off of the edge. This is a dangerous defense if you let them get you off the field and stay fresh. The idea here is to grind them out, get them tired, and then blow them out in the third and fourth quarters. The offense in general just shouldn't pose much of a threat. The defense should be out there as bloodthirsty as we were against Carolina, and less afraid because their quarterback isn't the kind of skill that Jake Delhomme is in general. So when we look at what we're going to deal with regards to discussion points or for keys to the game, we want to force their rented QB to pass the ball, whether it's Charlie Fry or whether it's Seneca Wallace. It doesn't really matter. If they can beat us by throwing the ball, then by God, they deserve to take the W home with them. We do want to control the clock with our running game. We did sign Jameel Cook, former Bucs fullback. He knows the system well enough. He can block, certainly. Ernest Graham shouldn't have to be in there being the fullback. So hopefully we'll get some more carries out of Ernest, and he and Dunn can both notch up some pretty good yardage because we're continuing to grind out people on the ground. By doing that, then we can go to play action with Jeff Garcia. And there's a rumor going around that the White Tiger is going to make an appearance. He did go into the walkthrough Friday. So there's a chance that Joey Galloway will get to go and go against a team that drafted him, actually, out of college. And we'll see what he can do with Jeff Garcia in the quarterback spot. We'll see how Joey can perform. Personally, I don't know that we need to do that other than to get him some game time before we play a squad like Dallas. This is one of those games, however, folks, that can be considered a trap game. We've got to be very, very careful, and that's going to go into the third point, or the third key to the game for us. One of the hallmarks of what the Bucs have been able to do as we continue to pile on some wins here is we are knocking the living crap out of people. Right? This defense is absolutely decleating people. Steve Smith shrieked away from a hit this last week, and he is a tough SOB, right? So we've got to continue to do that. T-Jack, Flip, our linebacking core, they got to continue to lay the lumber, because when you can hit like that and when you can run like we can run, it doesn't matter who lines up against you, you got a fighting chance to win. And that's what this team is building themselves on, right? We got a bunch of games here in the end that we should be able to take out. We got Dallas away, then we got Kansas City away before we get into our bye week. After that, we got Minnesota at home, and then we're at Detroit. And then we end up almost with the NFC South chunk with the Saints at home, at Carolina, at Atlanta. And then we have two West Coast teams coming across country, San Diego and Oakland, to close out the year. The schedule's shaping up good for us. The team is shaping up well. Injuries are starting to kind of get healed up, it looks like. Jeff Garcia looked really solid against the Panthers. He was named the starter quickly after that game, so I don't expect to see any change in that as long as Jeff keeps his head about him. And to be honest, I think the team is doing pretty damn well, guys. So this week, I expect to see Jeff have a big game. He's going to be my predictive offensive MVP. I expect to see him throw for some decent yards and get some touchdowns out of it. I do expect this to be another kind of lopsided score. I expect Greg White, our boy from Blitz91.com, to have a big game as well. He's been kind of held off the stat line for quite some time now. I do think he's going to be able to get to whoever the quarterback is that they put back there. And both he and Gaines are a threat as well when they drop into that zone blitz to get some turnovers. Equally as dangerous in that regard. I see the Bucs taking this one 27-9. That's my story. I'm going to stick to it. Hopefully we won't fall into the lure of they really stink and we're doing really well. Big game, big stage. They're coming cross country. Really, there's no pressure on them whatsoever. Everyone expects them to lose. The pressure's all on us. So hopefully the coaching staff will get the guys ready to go and not let them fall into this trap. So for more information about this, we'll be live Monday night at 7 o'clock at www.whatthebuck.net. And we'll throw up a review YouTube as well. Buccaneers6192. Appreciate the email. Glad you liked the review. And if you guys haven't checked it out, I'm going to throw some things up on our YouTube channel as well. Paisan's Pewter Pirates works with What the Buck, and he does a number of parody songs. And the guy is just freaking ridiculously rabid Bucks fan. I think they're funny as hell. You should check them out. I'll throw them up on our channel. But his name is Paisan's Pewter Pirates. This week it's Two Sexy Backs. And it's a laugher. So anyway, we'll see you guys Monday night, www.whatthebuck.net. Thanks for tuning in.